Presenter today is Dr. Mohamad Saiful Omar, who is currently the Deputy Dean of the School of Computing and Informatics, University Technology Brunei. His research interests include business process management, information systems, virtual reality, and mobile application development. He has received a Bachelor of Science in Information Technology from TSAR University, a Master's in Science in Multimedia and Internet Computing from Loughborough University, United Kingdom, and a PhD in Computer Science also from Loughborough University. Okay, so without further ado, let me invite Dr. Mohamad Saiful to present his topic on the development and evaluation of educational applications, virtual learning spaces in University Technology Brunei, and Guling Tangan Kitani, your musical heritage. Silakan, welcome.
Thank you very much for the introduction. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and very good afternoon. First of all, I would like to thank the Symposium Committee for inviting us for the sharing session this afternoon. For the contents of my presentation this afternoon, I'm sharing two projects on virtual learning space in UTB and the Guling Tangan Kitani. It's a mobile application. On the first project, I'd just like to share a short story with you guys. A couple of years ago, my son, he was so addicted to the computer, so attached to the computer. I was getting annoyed with him. And I asked him, "What are you doing there?" And he just looked at me and said, "Lol." I was more annoyed with him. I thought he's laughing at me, but eventually it is a League of Legends. All right, it's a multiplayer online role playing games in a virtual world setting. So from there, it's transpired me to embark on this project. So just a quick introduction about virtual world. The concept of 3D virtual world. The first one is deception of 3D space. And it is represented using avatar in the virtual setting. The communication is using 3D chat or voice over IP. On the 3D virtual learning space, it's offer this new environment to improve learning. Okay, and it generates interactive learning experience in a way that it can simulate learning experience or activities, especially on the activities like hazardous or expensive to be done in the real world. The aim of this project is to investigate the factors influencing student acceptance and attitude toward using UTB 3D virtual learning spaces as a learning tool, and by applying the technology acceptance model. Just a little bit of background. Angel Learning and Corporation, they studied this and explore virtual world as a powerful medium for instruction, and these are the feedback or that they shared. The first one is virtual world persistent allow for continuing and growing social interaction. Compared to, for example, the HTML or the World Wide Web. Okay, once you visit the space or the page, if you go out from the page, it's just the communication or the interaction is just finished. But in a virtual setting, it's just like this room. If we leave this room, this area still exists. So the same principle in the virtual world. The second one, it gives user ability to carry out tasks that are quite difficult in the real world. Example, what I can share previously in terms of cost, scheduling, or location. And the third one, virtual world can adapt and grow to meet different user needs. Similar technology as well. The first picture here was developed using Open Wonderland. And the second picture is mostly used in developing virtual world setting, that is the Second Life. Yeah. On the UTB 3D virtual learning space, we developed using OpenSim. It is an open source virtual world platform. You can download it and use it freely. Yeah? We combine the aspect of game-based learning and simulation. Okay, and we try to mimic the real world. And the information system theory that we adapt is using this technology acceptance model. So the model includes two main factors influencing individual information system use. The first one is perceived usefulness. Example, will the system enhance my learning? The second one is the perceived ease of use. Example, how difficult it will be to use the information, the system. This is the architecture of the study development phase. There are 5 main phases and 4 sub-phases. So under the main exploration phase is where users are immersing in the virtual world setting as a test subject. Following the development phase architecture, the spiral SDLC, the software development lifecycle model, is used in executing this project. Yeah? So in this project, there are 5 cycles applied. On the implementation and design, on the first phase is setting up the virtual world server. It's using the Open Simulator. And we use the virtual world viewer. It's like a browser in accessing a web page. But for the 3D environment, we're using this virtual world viewer. There's a lot of virtual world viewer. One that we tested is using Firestorm. And it has both platform on the desktop as well on the mobile application. We configure it to be a standalone grid for now, okay? But if it's connected to the rest of the grid, you can teleport from one world to another world. The second phase on the implementation is on the modeling. Okay. We just put a flat ground terrain for now. And on the building phase, in order for us to do that, we require the scanned blueprint, floor plan, and the picture of campus as the skeleton for guideline for building the model. The model structure was developed using 3D modeling software. In this project, we utilized Google SketchUp. And on the model texture, photo editing software such as Photoshop. The third phase on the implementation is bringing the campus to life. Yeah. So in order to that, we import the OpenSim static, so they do not move or they do not react to or respond to action. On the production phase carried out where static models are being programmed and extra environment features injected into the scenery. On the communication phase, the 2D virtual learning environment such as Moodle is used as a third-party software to enhance the teaching and learning capability for the 3D virtual world. We use this application called Simulation Link Object Oriented Dynamic Learning Environment. It's quite mouthful. It's acronym as SLUDL. Yeah. The fifth one is immersing the virtual UTB virtual campus. We remodel it to give an extra stage for implementing the exploration phase. Yeah. So these are the deployment on the modeling. Okay. And the second deployment is on the campus using OpenSIM. These are the overall island of the UTB virtual campus. Some of the screenshot where the participant participating in the session in UTB virtual campus. All right, I'd like to show some videos on the platform. Using the voice over IP. Can chat through text as well. So you got the idea how the virtual world platform is. Right, so these are the research model development using technology acceptance model. Here we have 6 hypotheses. On the data collection, the background data and the characteristic of the participating student have been outlined here. 84% of the respondents were undergraduate students. In terms of age, 78% of them were between 21 to 30 years old. Yeah? Right, this is the structural model result. The correlation analysis have shown that the construct variable of these self-efficacy, the perceived enjoyment, perceived usefulness, and attitude towards using have high correlation among one another. So all 8 hypotheses are supported, and all the hypotheses are accepted here. So to conclude on this first project, the 3D virtual learning space have great potential for education use. All right. The finding of the present study suggests that user acceptance is the key element and should be considered by educator through the academic institution. I have another project that I'd like to share, but maybe I can have just a quick one. This is on the Guling Tangan Kitani, right? Motivation of the study is to give awareness and appreciation for our traditional music, which we find is quite fading at the moment. On the Amazon objective of this project is using mobile technology to promote traditional music. Yeah? So I'm sure everybody knows what is Guling Tangan. Yeah. So these are the characteristics of Guling Tangan orchestra. Yeah? There are 5 main instruments. Yeah? And some background of the song of Guling Tangan here. We have 2 categories on Irama, Guling Tangan, and Lagu-Lagu Brunei Asli. So the current study, situation on traditional music is not readily available and quite expensive. To buy the whole instrument is quite expensive. And of course, especially the younger generation, traditional music, local expertise is lacking. So this is just an analysis finding and data gathering facts. I just skipped through that quickly. On the design, these are the system flow. Okay. On the implementation using Android platform, other software that were used. Okay, so just a quick video to show a blend of traditional and mobile technology. There's some. Can we have the sound, please? Thank you. So these are the traditional, and it's a blend between the traditional and mobile technology. Okay. This is where the technology alone can be played. This is where student is learning the instrument using this application. Sorry.
Oh, anda silakan. Cuba lagi.
I just skipped through the good part.
Motor. Ada salah tadi, ada salah. Perfectly. Bismillah, ini perfect ni. Confirm. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. minutes. Well done.
Okay. Yeah. So there are limitations as well. It's an ongoing project at the moment. Okay. One of the limitation is the sound of the device. Depends on the device itself. If the speaker is loud, then you have a loud sound. But if not, it's got bad quality. And the connectivity as well. When we try to use Bluetooth, there is a sound delay, so that's an issue. So we use cable for now, and we try to improve it using multi-touch as well. So future enhancement, we like to put on new features like music recorder, Malay rhythm, deploy in Apple iOS, okay, and more traditional instrument. So to conclude, Guling Tangan Kita ni is an educational app for traditional music using mobile technology, promote Brunei culture and globally. And of course, there are always room for improvement and innovation to apply technology to traditional music and education. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Mohamad Saiful, for the very interesting presentation. In fact, we've got two presentations from Dr. Mohamad Saiful. Okay, perhaps this is the right time now. I'd like to open the floor for questions from both Dr. Au and also Dr. Mohamad Saiful. Can we invite you back on the stage, please? So you can entertain any questions from the floor. We have about 10 minutes of question answers. If anyone from the floor would like to pose any questions at all to our presenters.
No
Okay,
question
we have
is good.
one question from our Assistant Director, Chibu Alias.
Okay. How do you see the potentials of these new technologies, AR and VR, in our higher institution in Brunei? Thank you.
Okay, thank you for the question. From my opinion, I think electronic learning, no matter you like it, you don't like it, it will be the future. Yeah, and I think we have to engage as early as we can. So one of electronic learning would be VR and AR. And because as I mentioned, that our mobile devices is getting more and more powerful, and this is the thing we can leverage on, and to help and enhance our learning, in the future.
Okay, thank you. Could I have more questions from the floor? Perhaps, yes, Cik Saiful from Senior Vortec, would you like a question? Yeah. Would you come forward, please? Thank you.
Assalamualaikum and good afternoon, Dr. Saiful. I just want to check with you, because the application that you it can be developed and evolve into something that can be commercial or something that can be can be used as a public device for maybe for orchestra or something like that. Yeah. So I do not know. What do you think will improve on the usability of it? When you talk about when you look at the device, it's a small device, right? But certainly devices can be customized if you can get the right commercial company to do that. Tablets can be made longer, for example. Yeah. So are there any what do you call that, efforts to work out with either organizations so that you can get customized tablets that will be able to, to improve on the usability of your invention? Thank you.
Thank you for the question. Well, in fact, we've been, it's part of this project is part with our student, final year project as well. And he has brought this project and presented to KKBS, the Ministry of Culture, Youth and Sport. And then there are indications that they are interested to adopt the application, and I think they are still under negotiation or discussion on how to go about with that. In terms of customizing it to specific hardware devices, it could be done, but at this moment we are targeting to the larger audience who has existing devices. So, and perhaps using the tablet that can be used in the classroom setting as well, because to bring the whole of traditional instrument to the classroom is quite all the logistic and so on is quite difficult. So in a way that using this device, it can be used anywhere or any places. It's more possible in that way. I hope that answers the question. Yeah.
Now, I was asking you the question because I'm looking at the entrepreneurial point of your project. Certainly, when you look at the opportunities in Brunei Darussalam, you can expand some business opportunities through specially devised components. People might be interested to come in, and once there is an interest from the commercial sector, it will improve on the economic viability and also job opportunities for Bruneians themselves. I can see that there is one potential there, but then to strike a commercial agreement is not easy because of the population of Brunei is not very big. So if you're talking about just selling in Brunei or promoting in Brunei, selling it might not be viable. But that device may be a device that might be marketed not just here but overseas elsewhere.
Yeah.
Because it's a unique. Just for example, the Chinese harp, they're being used for by modern what do you call these bands now, even to create specialized music.
Yeah.
But they have not heard about Brunei special guling tangan devices. So that because nowadays to get the traditional ones exported becomes a little bit cumbersome, tedious.
It is.
But with that kind of device, it becomes a much more marketable item.
Yeah.
That's my. So I was looking more of the entrepreneurial side of it. If you can make it into an enterprising project, that might encourage businessmen to come in.
Thank you for the feedback.
Okay, we have another one from Professor Bashir, please.
Thank you for presenting the two of the papers. Also, I am out of that discipline, I don't understand. But in spite of that, it created much interest to me. For the first paper, exactly regarding the augmented reality, I think somehow I was not clear that what is the implication of the paper regarding the 10 years of science education in the UTB. But I have the one question regarding the visual average, auditory average, as well as kinesthetics. How kinesthetics was measured exactly for the measurement? And then really the paper was so technical, I was really unable to understand. But in spite of that, that three terms we are used in the generally OB, organizational behavior. I might think that there are some technical analysis have some implication on the behavioral aspects because this is the learning issue concerned. that means that have some implication on the societal aspects. So I just request you to know that regarding that, what is the implication of that kinesthetics measurement as well as what are its social implication. And regarding the second paper, it is not my, along with my previous reviewer, I find that especially heritage, upholding the heritage, revival of the heritage. In our country, some pottery business, it was nearly dead. But one NGO called the BRAC, Bangladesh Rural Advancement Committee, they are now telling that we need to uphold our heritage. They have started upholding many of the heritage that is died. Now they are selling it at the high price many of the foreign countries. So as far as the concern exactly, the technology, every country is now emphasizing on the local technology. Like as intermediate technology development, one institution, those who are working throughout the world, they are working nook and corner of the many countries, they are finding out what are the local technology and what are its implications. I think it was much interested to me, Gulintang and Kitani. There are some traditional instruments in our country also. See, if it is possible, I think through some foreign donation can be possible that, or the financing through them can be marketed not only in the foreign countries, even it is the one-way opportunity to develop that, to marketize that local technology. Along with that, that is the using that for the educational purpose, because nowadays I think audio-visual instruments are very appealing to know the things. I think can we find out that what are the avenues can be developed for the marketing of that technologies. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. It's a very long question. Yeah. So I'll answer the first question. The first question is, you are saying kinesthetic, and how is it? How do we measure? Yeah. Actually, we measure it using done and done. What they call methods. Yeah. If you check on, it's a very highly used and it's very popular. It's especially measuring the visual, audio, and kinesthetic. Yeah, three things they are measuring, and they have an instrument, a set of questions that you get the students to answer. Yeah, immediately you can tell, yeah, from that whether the student is inclined towards visual type of learning, or audio type of learning, or kinesthetic. Now, in our experiment, we found that, by the way, this is only a pilot study. Yeah? It's not a nationwide full scale. We just select a school for year 10 science student. Yeah, so we found that the students are they're more inclined to visual and kinesthetic. Yeah, and they are not so much on the auditory. The visual and kinesthetic, if you look at our system, the lesson that we developed, it's very much in visual, because you actually see the chemical element. So that somehow will enhance and trigger their interest, and they are really interested, and they can also, because the marker allows them to hold, they can hold the marker in their hand, and then they use the mobile phone with the application, the apps. Yeah, it's an apps, and they focus onto it, and then they can see the elements. They are like holding the chemical elements, and the element is moving around. Yeah, so that somehow trigger and their interest, and they are very into the learning. Yeah. So as I said, this is only a pilot study for this particular group of students. Yeah, it's for chemistry. Yeah, maybe for biology, for physics, then they need to have different kinds of learning. Yeah. Okay, I hope I understand your question. Yeah. I answer your question. Yeah.
Okay, on the second question, I think it's not a question. I think it's more like a comment. Yeah. So we take note on that. In fact, our school as well, trying to embark on this technopreneurship as well. So we have even specific module on technopreneurship to teach our student in semester 5. Yeah, in semester 5. So hopefully from their knowledge on these technopreneurship, never know. We can have something like successful like Uber or Airbnb in Brunei one day, inshallah.